right. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. We have a nice crowd joining us. While we're waiting for a few more participants, we're going to start a quick video just to wait a few minutes and give you an overview of who SEQENS is as a group. So here's that quick video. Thank you.
We are SEQENS. We are French, but international. Together carrying a common goal. Collectively, we can be proud of what we have achieved and of the values that we continue to share. We are SEQENS. SEQENS is industry, chemistry, and discoveries. SEQENS is a global leader, serving more than 1,000 customers. We devote our energy to our customers. SEQENS gathers 3,200 people in 10 countries. SEQENS is people, science, pharmaceuticals, challenges, and innovation. SEQENS is cosmetics and biology. SEQENS is sharing with the generations to come and caring with CSR commitment for the planet. SEQENS is our science for your future.
Great. So again, welcome everyone, and really excited to have such a big crowd on this webinar. So just a few general rules before we do some introductions. This webinar will be recorded so that we can send you a replay if you'd like after the event. There will be a Q&A, but please feel free to add a question into the chat at any point. We're happy to get them, and there's no question that you can't ask except, maybe what's the weather in China today, because I didn't look. So, and at the end of the webinar, we will send a quick survey both in the chat and by email. The point is so that we can make these better for you in the future. So again, really excited to have you. Good morning, good afternoon, and make a quick introduction of the team with me now. So on one side, I have Hendrik Bessem, who will be starting off the presentations in a few seconds. And Hendrik is our global product manager for antimicrobials and has a long experience in this space. I don't want to say, old, but I just want to say long.
Well, you can say old.
Yeah, okay. So, we're going to talk about some really exciting new launches in the space. And then we're going to move to Richard Leroux, who is our R&D director. And we're going to go into some really interesting data on one of our actives that we've developed with the team. So that's where we're heading. And if we move to the next slide, again, I talked a little bit about this. We have these 4 main points that we're going to touch on. 2 are in the moving from synthetic to natural ingredients in the antimicrobial space, which is a huge push, and it'll help both you and our end customers formulate products that have more naturality inside. And that's what the trends are moving towards today. And we're working hard to complement that. And then on the active ingredient side, a really interesting space of where the skin-brain axis impacts mood and how we feel about our skin. And that's a great consumer benefit that we're going to go into more deeply. So really excited about that. And we're going to move into that right now. So first thing, we do want to, there's a lot of you on the webinar. We'd love to hear a little bit about what you expect from this webinar. So if you could just put a couple keywords in there for us right now, it would be great to hear where you're looking to learn. I think it's working, it's cooking, it's like a slow roast in the oven type of thing. There we go. Wow, boom. So we have, just a general update about the SEQENS personal care. Obviously, the launches in the antimicrobial space, which we're going to go into deeply. Neurocosmetics, I think we're going to be touching on that with Richard's presentation. So I think we cover a lot about both. Yes, what's new, and today it's talking about new things. So great, thank you for all of those responses. That's excellent. So all right, let's move on to the next step. So Hendrik, we'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Victor. First of all, also good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And I'm really happy for all the participants who are joining this webinar, because it's also a big day for us, because we are going to launch our bio-based materials first time. And I'm really looking forward to discuss this further with all of you. So what I would like to do first is to explore a little bit the journey that we have done going from synthetic to natural on the multifunctional ingredients that we already produce for many, many years. So due to the fact that SEQENS has a pharmaceutical heritage and also our commitment to bring the highest environmental friendly quality products to the market, what also the customers expect from us, SEQENS has developed a unique production process that allows us to obtain a 99 or higher pure bio-based and colorless multifunctionals from renewable and sustainable natural resources. So based on the fact that we have a unique ecosystem and that we also have multidisciplinary teams, we also commit to very strong CSR initiatives that we have in place within the company. So for example, within SEQENS, we have a CSR commitment to reduce the carbon footprint until 2025 by 45%, and also to focus heavily on sustainable products with a target 2025 of 100%. What you also see, and I'm always very proud to show this to our customers and our partners, is on the right side, you have a glimpse of our production facility located in the UK, where we also have an EcoVadis score of platinum. And this is, of course, also showing that we have a very good quality and that all the things we do have a very high standard. The first thing that I would like to introduce to you is the Advanced Protect Green diols. So everything that we are going to show you today is going to have the brand name Advanced Protect Green, and this is related to the long chain bio-based diols. So what we already indicated at the beginning, we want to reduce the carbon footprint, and based on the bio-based production process that we have in place, we are able to reduce the carbon footprint with 20% compared to the conventional process of the molecules that we already produce today. So at the moment, a life cycle assessment is in process, and this will really complete the evaluation as such. The technology that we developed together with the whole team of SEQENS is patented and also based on the different productions that we have carried out already in the past. We know that also the result shows that we have a 100% bio-based technology in place. We also have freedom to operate. We make use of 100% bio-based raw materials, something that we check with C14 analysis. And only when the analysis shows that we have a 100% naturality, this is then also for us the signal that we can start doing the production, starting from these bio-based raw materials. Then everything is going to be in place to produce. And what we expect is that we are ready for scale-up production by Q3 2025 or Q4 2025. It doesn't mean that we do not have samples already available and also all the product documentations. This is something that you can expect from us after the webinar. And we also know that, for example, it takes a little bit of time for you to approve a new raw material. So sometimes between 3 to 6 months. But in the meantime, we will take care that we have everything in place so that we can start up the production as soon as possible. The technology that we have developed is applicable in the first place for caprylyl glycol, something that I will introduce to you later, but it's also applicable for all other long chain diols that you can expect from us to be launched, for example, by next year, by the next 2, 3, 4 years to come. If we talk about caprylyl glycol, so the first one that we are going to introduce as a bio-based material, I first would like to show you the production process of the synthetic one. This is something that we already do at our site in the UK as well. So we start from synthetic raw materials, we create a kind of intermediate with a very high purity, and then we move to the final product. It's also a very high pure molecule, caprylyl glycol, but from a synthetic synthesis way. If we now compare the production process of the one that we have in place for our Advanced Protect 8 Green, we start from bio-based raw materials, again, 100% natural. We create one intermediate, we move on to a second intermediate, and then after the process, we have the same molecule in place, but this is a 100% bio-based raw material, caprylyl glycol, that does not differ from the synthetic version that most probably you are already familiar with. There is no change in specification. It will have the same specification. Also, odor or no odor will be identical. So it's a very easy way to change, for example, your synthetic molecule into a natural AP8 from SEQENS, for example. On the other hand, we are also aware that some of our colleagues, if I can call them like this, we also know that they are promoting some of their own materials, caprylyl glycol, bio-based. We know from our experience and investigation that this is based on two different things. First of all, they also have the same, let me say, diol at the end, the same caprylyl glycol, but they also have a kind of isomer inside. And this isomer is something that it's very difficult to get rid of. It's a 2,3 isomer. And the biggest problem with things like that is you do not know what this isomer is doing in terms of, does it cause skin sensitization? Does it interfere with some of the molecules in my formulation? So a lot of question marks, especially related to something that should not be inside. But I think you also see the difference with the one that we are going to promote into the market. We have a 100% bio-based without any impurity compared to what the competitor is offering today. So coming back to the Advanced Protect 8 Green, I think caprylyl glycol is already well established in the market. We have a 100% bio-based moisturizing agent and multifunctional additive. It has a very good moisturizing effect. It has a preservative boosting capacity, so you can combine it with different molecules to enlarge the efficacy against microbes. It's UK-based, and what you can see on the right side is that what we offer to the market is 100% bio-based, and that is exactly what we prove with every production that we are going to do based on C14 analysis, that we make sure that what you are going to receive is 100% bio-based.
Hendrik, just a quick question. So right now, we're ready to go. I think in the follow-up, we're going to have a link to to request samples, I believe, as well.
Yes, correct. Together with the introduction of the molecule, we are also going to send the information related to the product. And of course, what I already mentioned at the beginning, samples are already available on stock. So in case you are interested to try and see if it fits into your formulation, new developments, etc., we are ready to sample, and we can send it to you straight away directly or through our distribution partners that we have globally.
Okay, so I know you're going to tell a little bit more about the efficacy right now, so I'll let you keep going. But I think the message is that we're available for any team that's on the call to talk to directly and to go deeper if needed as well. So, thank you.
So one of the questions that I very often receive, and this is of course also a question mark from the end customer perspective, what is the synthetic molecule doing compared to the natural version that you are going to offer? This is something that we want to make more visible in the slide that you see here. So based on challenge testing, according to the ISO, we can see that the synthetic molecule, caprylyl glycol, is showing the same effect as our bio-based Advanced Protect 8 Green. And this is, of course, very important because if there is going to be a change from synthetic to natural, there should not be a concern that the molecule, the natural molecule, is not working in the same way as the synthetic one. So you really can exchange one-on-one without any loss of performance. And this is exactly what we can see here on the slides in front of us. Another very important slide and also result that we want to share. Again, we know that caprylyl glycol natural is already offered by some of our competitors. If we compare, for example, the efficacy of our Advanced Protect 8 Green with the one offered by our competitor, we also see that the efficacy is exactly the same. So that means that, for example, the one with a little bit of an impurity shows the same efficacy results as what we show with our 8 Green natural one. And this is, of course, also something that you can keep in mind in case you consider the one from SEQENS as a possible equivalent to the one that you use today. So what we can more or less conclude is that, first of all, the Advanced Protect Green dials that we have or that we launched today, but that we are also going to introduce within the next coming months and years. First of all, 100% bio-based, something we can prove, C14 analysis, etc., etc. Second one, Cosmos compliant, something we will apply for starting from January 2025. And you can also rely on the very, very high quality, pure products because we have a controlled impurity profile. And this is something that you can rely on offering these materials into the market. Some of our key benefits, if we make use of the green dials, first of all, preservative booster. So if you want to lower your preservative concentration, you can make use of boosters. If you want to formulate natural, you can, of course, make use of Advanced Protect 8 Green as a natural booster. It can be used as a moisturizer, a softener, and also it's a powerful solvent, for example.
So Hendrik, before we go forward, there's a great question. It's always, and it's about economics, right? So where will this product fit as far as cost structure? Obviously, there is a premium to doing a natural process. We have to start with different raw materials and create intermediates that then deliver the efficacy at the end. So there will be a premium to the synthetic. We are trying to make that premium as narrow as possible, and we will share that pricing with you on demand. So happy to go into a deeper discussion and work on the specific targets that you and your teams have. So thank you for the question.
Okay, another very important launch that we want to do today, it's the introduction of our Advanced Protect 2 AHG Green. So SEQENS is already one of the main manufacturers of the synthetic ethylhexylglycerine. Today, we are going to introduce to you the bio-based ethylhexylglycerine. So again, synthetic process, we make use of a synthetic alcohol. We are making use of a synthetic EPI. So based on the two molecules, we create a kind of intermediate ethylhexylglycerine ether with a very high purity, but still synthetic. And then after distillation and processing internally, we create a very high pure ethyl glycerin that we sell nowadays into the market under our Advanced Protect 2 AAG brand name. If we are going to look to the natural process, again, we make use of a natural alcohol. We make use of a natural reagent. Again, we check this very carefully with C14 analysis so that we are also 100% sure that the raw materials are 100% bio-based. If we do the reaction internally at our site, then we create a natural intermediate with a very high purity. And at the end, we are going to have a very high pure ethyl glycerin coming from bio-based raw materials. One thing that I must explain a little bit, or to give you a little bit more background, if you compare the synthetic process with the natural process, we do not mention, for example, the active ingredients that we make use of. Again, the process was developed by SEQENS. This is something that we also want to keep a little bit more on our side, also to not make our competitors, for example, more knowledgeable about how are they doing it. So this is a little bit the reason why we still keep the general things here in place. At the end, the most important thing is that we create a natural ethyl glycerin with the same specification, with the same quality requirements that we have in place compared to the synthetic one. And also here for this molecule, there should be no problem to exchange the synthetic one into a natural one, purely based on, let me say, quality of the molecule itself. So ethyl glycerin is already well known as a very preferred booster for different preservative actives. What we can offer is Advanced Protect 2 AAG Green. Again, it's 100% bio-based. It's an emollient preservative booster, has a very good deodorant efficacy because it's already in the market for many years. It's UK-based. And we are going to introduce two different products based on ethyl glycerin. First of all, Advanced Protect 2 AAG Green. And then we are also going to have the Advanced Protect 2 AAG Plus Green. And this is a version stabilized with natural tocopherol to keep the product as such 100% natural. And this in addition to the synthetic ones that we already have today.
So Hendrik, great. I'm super excited about this, and I just want to let everybody on the webinar know you are the first people to see this ingredient from us. So our official launch date is in January 2025 at Cosmetagora in France, but we wanted to get this out to everyone globally a little bit earlier than that. So again, samples are ready. We again, on the pricing point, there will be a slight premium, but again, we're trying to be aggressive and allow you to develop formulas that are more natural and safer for the consumer. So again, we're really excited about this launch, and please bring your inquiries to us when you're ready. Thank you.
As a short summary, what we can offer nowadays from a SEQENS perspective and more in the term of antimicrobials, besides the synthetic ones that we already have and that we already promote towards the market, we now also have our natural range. So we have the 2-AAG Green, the ethyl glycerin. We have the ethyl glycerin stabilized with natural tocopherol. We also have, but we didn't touch it today, the Advanced Protect 5 Green. This is a natural pentylene glycol that is also widely used in the market. And we have the Advanced Protect 8 Green, so the green version bio-based caprylyl glycol. So again, these products have a very low toxicity, can be used as antimicrobial stabilizers, has a moisturizing capacity. And again, what most is important, it's coming from sustainable natural sources. And SEQENS also have a full control of the supply chain, first of all of the raw materials, but also of the finished goods.
Hendrik, we got a quick question. Will the ethyl hexaglycerin be able to be used in deodorants?
Yes, of course. So first of all, it's a natural and it can be used in deodorants because the efficacy in deodorants is not different than the synthetic one. And the synthetic one is already widely used in deodorants because that was the first application area when the active ingredient was introduced in 1992, for example.
And for example, in that application, what's a general use level?
It depends a little bit the combination of ethylhexylglycerine with other molecules. Mm-hmm. If you have, for example, a little bit of an alcohol inside, the use concentration will be lower because there is the boosting. But it is a little bit between 0.1 to 0.3 with the addition of alcohol, and 0.3 to 0.5 or 0.6 when you do not have any alcohol in your formulation.
Okay. And then generally, if you are outside of the deodorant space, for topical or leave-on applications, what's the use level?
Well, for us, it's always very important as low as possible and as much as technically necessary. Yeah. And I think,
I would say more is better, but that's just the commercial stuff. Okay, but anyway. Okay.
No, it's very difficult to also mention a use concentration because every formulation is totally different. Yeah. So a challenge test is the only thing to show what concentration should be used.
And we can help you with that in the different regions of the world. So we have partnered with laboratories that can help you do that quickly.
Right. So that was a little bit from my point of view. Thanks again for listening. And I hope we also create a kind of interest from your side. And our commercial team, together with our business partners, are more than happy to also have a further, let me say, personal discussion to see how we can work together on these materials.
Yep. I see a couple more questions. We're going to move to the next piece, and then we'll come back to a few questions at the end of the presentation. So thank you for the great questions so far. All right. So real quick, we're going to do a second icebreaker to get everybody re-engaged here. So what do you see as the biggest trends impacting the personal care space in 2025? And if everyone puts in Trump, I'm going to be a little bit, but no, I mean, maybe I'll do it. But no, I mean, what are the trends that are affecting the personal care space going forward in 2025? Exosomes. Yeah, the environmental impacts are still a big push. I think there's a little bit of a lag. No, we should no karaoke. I promised everybody no karaoke. I'm not sure if it's. Oh, there we go. Wow. Okay. So, biotech ingredients, excellent. Upcycling. So the ingredient we're going to talk about with Richard is biotech derived. We have an exciting biotech active launch coming in April of next year. Longevity, I hear a lot about that, and we do have a platform on that as well. Of course, anti-aging, neurocosmetics, transparency and traceability. I think we're trying to show that with on the antimicrobial side for sure. So an upcycling, great. So thank you for those. I think they all hit. It's interesting to see how the brands in the marketplace will, leverage these. I think some of them do a really good job. Low prices as well, right? I mean, things. We're going into areas of high inflation. How can we, bring that efficacy and still bring the consumer a price that they want to hit? So thank you. Okay, so moving on, we're going to hand it over to Richard to explore the skin brand access and how our active ingredient impacts that. So here we go, Richard.
Okay, thank you. So hi, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about emotion and physiological response. So this is the purpose of the topic that we are going to have this morning. feeling good about yourself. So that's another translation for a French sentence that is être bien dans sa peau. And that have a very, very specific meaning. So it's not only a mental feeling, it's also a physical feeling. And I would quote a psychodermatologist that is called Laurent Misery from the French Society of Dermatology, that he said, our skin perception are just as fine as our visual perception. It's why we have so many nerves ending on the skin, transmitting a great deal of information to the brain. But this communication also flows in the other direction. The nervous systems keep in the skin informed of our state of stress. So this is the of the concept that we have been developed here, and I'm going to develop that a little bit more to allow you to understand what am I talking about. So, skin-brain interaction. So that's a very, very interesting topic in that case. When you have a nice skin and then you look your skin, you look your face in the mirror, if you are happy about the quality of the skin, that makes you happy. So you have a happy mood. Happy mood is triggering several different reactions from your body and releasing happiness hormones. These kind of hormones are beta endorphin and dopamine. These have a very nice influence on your well-being, on your happiness. It's also very interesting to see that these hormones have a benefit on the skin as well. Because in that case, the beta endorphin, for example, will be a pain-relieving mediators and reduce the stress on the skin through the more receptors. And then the dopamine, that is the reward-driven behaviors of the relaxation as well, but it's also involved into the skin function by improving the skin barrier and reducing inflammation. So as you can see, there is a double way to have this benefit. It will be a global benefit by your happy mood, but it will also have a positive impact on the quality of the skin, and then the skin will be better, and so you will be happy to have a nice skin. So that's a virtuous circle. Unfortunately, we have the opposite that is also true. Whenever you have a bad skin, you are not happy with the quality of the skin when you look in front of the mirror, and that gives you a bad mood, that gives you stress and anxiety. And that can trigger physiological response that are very well known. The body expression could be measured, facial expression, we can measure pupil dilation, we can measure heart rate, sudation, and even the prosody whenever you express yourself on the quality of the skin could be impacted. And again, the point is that this bad mood will unfortunately generate some messengers that will have an impact, a negative impact on the full body and on the skin as well. Cortisol. Cortisol will unfortunately impair skin innervation and also impair the skin barrier function. So that will then participate to the degradation of the skin, and so the skin will be worst. And so whenever you're going to look, you're going to have a worst feeling, and so you are, in that case, in a vicious circle. So we're going to try to work on that with the product that we develop, Glycuron 2.78, to activate your emotional and skin well-being, to restore this happiness and to allow you to be in a positive mood. What is it, the Glycuron 2.78? This is a bioactive mega sugar. It's obtained from marine biotechnology. This is a mega sugar obtained from Alteromonas sp biofermentation. It's a very big exopolysaccharide for M. Dalton. Its sequence is composed with glucose, galactose, glucuronic acid, and galacturonic acid mostly. It's very rich in uronic acid, up to 45%. We identified that one based on a screening we achieved with a couple of different other exopolysaccharides. And we all applied on this technique that is called the lectin array. The lectin are some cutaneous receptors that you can find into your skin, and that could be activated by specific products and trigger specific pathways as well. There is a couple of different of those lectin that are described here. And as you can see, for example, the mannose mimetic one, the rhamnose mimetic one, and the uronic acid has been triggered by the Glycuron 2.78. Those ones are connected with several interesting pathways for the skin. Immunomodulation first, dermal and epidermal regeneration, and also cell regeneration and inflammation modulation. So based on this research, we were able to select the Glycuron 2.78 as an interesting candidate that can triggers a lot of different pathways. An interesting phenomenon as well. The Glycuron 2.78 doesn't contain rhamnose, but it can trigger the rhamnose mimetic lectin due to its configuration. So that's very interesting because this rhamnose mimetic is also involved into the well-being pathways, allowing us to think that it's a perfect candidate for the topic we want to talk about. So we did a couple of different evaluations on that one, and these are the new data that we have been generating on that one. We did an explant study measuring what are the proteins that have been expressed under the application of 1% of the Glycuron 2.78 versus the control. And we were able to see a couple of different pathways that were boosted or reduced in that case for some. For example, in the epidermis layer, we were able to see that we have a nice benefit on the skin barrier homeostasis and the skin renewal. We were triggering the keratinocyte differentiation, the epidermal permeability, the lipid production, and also the barrier homeostasis improvement. And at the same time, through the TGF-beta stimulation, we were able to promote the proliferation and differentiation, and also the migration. So that was very interesting to see that on the epidermis, there was a very, very nice efficacy, but not only. We were also able to see that it could interact with the dermal-epidermal junction and with the dermis as well, stimulating, for example, some pathways that could be very interesting, like the fibrin or the decorin or lumicon or collagen 6, and even inhibition of some MMPs that are going to reduce the collagen network. And then we have a very, very nice antioxidant activity as well, by boosting some ROS scavenging activity with, for example, the superoxide dismutase efficacy that was boosted as an illustration. So globally, we have a product that is able to trigger the epidermis and dermis, but due to this very big size, we focus mostly on the epidermis because maybe it could be challenging to penetrate deeper into the skin, but let's see why not. So we did some clinical evaluation to demonstrate the real efficacy of that product. We applied that one at 1% again in the final formulation on a panel composed with 22 Caucasian women with irregular and dull complexion. We made very, very simple evaluation. We measured the moisturization, we measured the skin texture, and as you can see, they were both boosted respectively by 8.2% or 10.3%. And that was interesting to see that the quality of the skin was improved. But as I told you, even if these values are not the most fantastic one, the interesting parameters is that the eye sometimes see different things rather than the devices. And this is that approach that I would like now to focus on and to illustrate with the next evaluation that we have been performing. What is the psychological benefit that we are able to obtain by application of this product? Protocol was performed on 44 Caucasian female volunteers in that case, again with irregular and dull complexion, and we divided in two panels. One was having a placebo, and the second one was having the product including 1% of the Glycuron 2.78 into the formulation. We run through a twice daily application, morning, evening, for 28 days, and then at the end of the test, we evaluated a couple of different parameters. So they came the first day, and we asked the volunteers to describe themselves while they were watching in front of a mirror. They were free to use their own wording. We record their voice, we record the wording that they did, and then we proceed to analysis the first day and after 28 days of application. I'm going to show you what we extracted from that analysis. First, voice stress reduction. You must understand that when you are not satisfied by the quality of the skin and when you are asked to describe yourself in front of the mirror, you're going to experiment some stress. And then this stress is perceivable inside the voice. In that case, the voice will be louder and the voice frequency will be higher as well. So whenever you are satisfied because you can see an improvement of the quality of the skin, you're going to have a reduction in terms of the loudness of the voice and the frequency. This is exactly what we observed during this evaluation compared to the placebo. You have the placebo on the left that was not significantly moving. And you have on the right the Glycuron 2.78 on every diagram. You can see that voice loudness and voice frequency were both reduced significantly versus placebo, which means that it could be analyzed that people were less stressed to describe themselves because their mind was able to see and perceive an amelioration in terms of the quality of the skin. Let's see in the next parameters how deeper we can go in that one. We analyze the wording that they were using, and that's based on the expertise of Arnaud Aubert, that is a chairman of Emospin, and that is a specialist into the neuroscience. As you can see at the very beginning, the wording that were used both for the placebo and the cream containing the Glycuron 2.78 were in the top left part of this diagram. This diagram is split in two different axes. The horizontal one is the emotion sensation. On the left, this is negative. On the right, this is positive. And then on the vertical one, you have the emotion intensity. On the bottom, it's relaxed, it's quiet. On the top, it's excited, it's nearly stressed. You can see that after 28 days, this is interesting to see that in the vertical one, we are both going in the same direction. People are a little bit relaxed, so maybe it's also because they are a little bit less afraid about talking about themselves in front of the mirror. They are a little bit surprised with that kind of request. But the interesting parameters is the positiveness of the wording that they were using. Again, just a quick reminder, they were free to use every word that they wanted. No restriction. We did not ask them to choose into a list. They were using their own words. So according to Arnaud Aubert, these results indicate that the group with the 28 days of EPS, that is the Glycuron 2.70 treatment, expressed a more positive shift in the self-appreciation compared to the placebo group. So that's very, very interesting to see that they go through a positive mind.
Richard, just a quick question. I mean, it's really, in the self-care trend, right?
Yes.
That, if you start a routine, you can change the way you feel, but this is obviously adding a little extra level to that, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
When you apply a cosmetic ingredient in the morning, in the evening, whenever you apply a cream, it has a couple of different targets. You want to see an amelioration of your skin, and you want to feel good. So there is the immediate feeling good by the touch and the pleasure that you have whenever you apply it. And then there is the result 28 days after, or 2 weeks after, or 2 months after, depending the efficacy. But that's definitely what we measure here compared to the immediate satisfaction of application of a product.
It's powerful. It's great.
It is. In terms of psychological benefit, again, the social impression improvement is also something we can measure, and that's also something everybody cares. Actually, everybody is super connected with the social media. Everybody is aware about what people are expecting from us. So that's exactly what we can see into this slide. By Glycuron 2.78, we went from a negative to an optimistic and positive lexicon. Again, Arnaud Baer described that this result can be explained by the brain's ability to perceive very finely certain change in skin tissues and to amplify the signal with a neurological reward associated to improve self-esteem. So we are at the heart of the claim that this neuro well-being product here with that demonstration again versus the placebo that was not having this benefit. So that's the second demonstration. Let's see now what we can claim at cellular interaction, because this is also very, very important. On that one, we have been doing a very, very specific and highly scientific evaluation using co-cultures of keratinocytes, that are the cells of the epidermis, and nerves, to see how both interact each other with or without the product in that case. So we made a co-cultures of keratinocytes and neurons inside the same petri dish, and then we applied a stress. You remember on the third one of the first slide that cortisol is a stress whenever you are in the bad mood. And then we applied cortisol as well in presence of Glycuron 2.78. We measured a couple of different parameters that I'm going to describe in the next slide. First, Ke67, that is an expression of the cellular proliferation. Whenever the skin is stressed, you have an impact on that one. You can see a reduction by 31%. That was completely annihilated by the presence of the Glycuron 2.78. So what we can say that the Glycuron 2.78 increased Ke67 expression, and then that lead to keratinocyte proliferation and promote epidermal renewal that will help your skin to naturally renew, which is a natural process. On the next one, we are talking about the skin innervation protection. Again, the cortisol has a very, very bad impact on the connection between the neurites. In that case, you can see that from long neurites, we are shortening the neurites, unfortunately. I'm not sure this is the right one. This is, yes, that's one. Thank you. Okay. So you can see on the bottom left pictures, there is a long neurite, and whenever you apply a stress, you only have short neurite. When you applied with different concentration of Glycuron 2.78, 0.25, and 0.5%, you recover this long neurite, and you can even identify some super long neurite. So in that case, we can say that the Glycuron 2.78 protect neurons from stress impairment that can generate cortisol, for example. On the next slide, we have the happiness signaling pathways modulation. This is measured through the micro-opioid receptors that are able to connect with the beta-endorphin. That is a messenger that is regulating the response to pain and inflammation. Again, micro-opioid receptors were reduced under the stress and positively boosted by Glycuron 2.78. But let's go to the final one that is, to me, the most attractive one in terms of happiness signaling pathways, because we were measuring in that case the dopamine. Again, under stress, dopamine produced by skin was reduced by 9%, and this was completely annihilated again and boosted by Glycuron 2.78 at different percentage with a very nice dose response. We were able to see something that is super rare in the cosmetic active ingredients, is a natural boosting of dopamine expression inside the skin. Just a quick reminder that will boost the epidermal barrier homeostasis, and that will boost cellular proliferation as well. I won't say that this dopamine will participate to the global well-being that is neuroconnected in the global circulation. It's the one that is produced at skin level, but it will participate to restoring a nice skin, and so indirectly it will participate to put you into this virtuous loop of immediate pleasure because of the nice skin.
Richard, just a quick question. Does the skin also releases cortisol though, right?
Yes.
So it is working against that action.
Absolutely,
so,
yes.
Which is really cool, because if you're stressed or in a stressful situation, it's the flight or flight syndrome, right? And
exactly,
cortisol gets released, and this and the Glycuron can do a great job in the skin to offset that a bit, which is very cool.
And which is very interesting also, that it's not an exogenous addition about the dopamine, for example. It's an internal generation of dopamine. So that means the dopamine will be excreted where it's mandatory, where it's expected. It's a natural release. We just boost the natural process that already exists. We didn't apply something exogenously that could be also efficient, but that will need to cross everything in terms of the skin. So that's a natural answer. Yeah. So globally, this is the mechanism of action that Glycuron 2.78 can release in terms of the global things. We are going to be on the right path, because we are going to fight against the chronic psychological stress and going to fight against the bad mood, stress, and anxiety, to go into this virtuous circle about the well-being, self-esteem, social impression. We demonstrate that at different levels, even at cellular level with the skin nerves protection and so on. So definitely this active can trigger a lot of positive benefit for your skin and make you happy about the image that is reflecting into the mirror. What is it? So it's a well-being and happiness enhancer of 4 megadalton polysaccharide obtained by Blue Biotechnology. It improves self-esteem and social impression boosters, skin cell renewal and innovation protectors, happiness pathways, and again, a rare dopamine modulators. Recommended level, 1% in kiname. You can see it's alteromonas ferment extract with aqua, propanediol, and pentylene glycol, so very simple in kiname as well. And it's also have no impact on the marine biodiversity, of course, because we were only collected once, this microorganism, and then we have it for life. Trendy application because it applies in emotional beauty, mind-skin connection, neurocosmetics, neurobeauty, holistic beauty, marine biotech, marine spa, relaxation, well-being, daily cream, fighting chronic stress, and so on. And finally, claim suggestion. You have all of this list that I will let you take to go home. Moisturizing, cell renewal, reduce chronic stress, modulate happiness, improve the emotional state, and so on. And I think that's it for me. I just have to thank you for your attention about that.
Excellent, Richard. Thanks. So we are kind of on time, which is really amazing. And we're always proud of ourselves when we just do things in the right time frame. But we have a few questions. First, I'll start with one for Hendrik. So will the bio-based capryl glycol and ethyl hexylglycerin have the same way to handle and as the synthetic?
Yes, correct. So it's the same product as the synthetic one. So same molecule, same specification. only we make use of the raw materials that are bio-based, but it also means that at the end, the product should be treated in the same way as the synthetic version. So there will be no difference. Only the claim bio, natural, bio is going to be applicable.
Okay, great. And shelf life and storage conditions?
The same.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly the same molecule, but bio-based. Correct.
So yeah, I think just as a general goal is to have a drop-in natural replacement to the existing molecules on the market. And that's the goal the team has been working on together for the past months. So we're really excited to get those off the ground. I hope that answers that question. Richard, can you just maybe again just talk about how Glycuron 2.78 stimulates the dopamine release in the skin?
That's going through specific pathways on the keratinocyte. We don't know exactly what are the triggering, but we have been able to demonstrate that versus the control, there was this dopamine release that we were able to quantify, and significantly. So definitely that make it happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. A question on in the wipe category with ethyl hexylglycerin. Can the green ethyl-hexylglycerin be used, and what's the use levels in wipes in the wipe world?
So the wipe application area is definitely an area where the ethylhexylglycerin can be used. Nevertheless, you must check, of course, if it is also soluble into your wet wipe formulation. The reason why I say that is because ethylhexylglycerin is not that good soluble into water. Wet wipes contain a very high water content. So perhaps together with another solvent or with other ingredients, it's better. You can better, you can better add the ethylhexylglycerin in your final formulation. So it's definitely a choice of raw materials. But ethylhexylglycerin, it's a good active ingredient, also to reduce the preservative concentration, but at the end to also preserve your wet wipe at the end against spoilage of microorganisms.
Great. I think there's a question on the Glycuron 2.78. Is it mainly for skin, or could it also be applicable for hair care?
We didn't do any evaluation on hair care. It might have different properties because this is a very surprising and interesting exopolysaccharide. So we know that some EPS have very interesting hair care efficacy. That one it could also be impacting that one, but we didn't do any evaluation in that direction. So everything is to be done. Why not?
Okay, so it's something to work on for the future. Yep. Okay, great. So I think, guys, we're getting closer. I think our cameras are on, but if you're not seeing us, hopefully we can see ourselves. Yeah. So I'm sorry if you just see our voices. It must be a connection. And I know you guys are doing screenshots of us to try and capture that, those beautiful faces, but keep those in your private folders. Okay, that's okay. So listen, we're very excited to have you here today. We're going to wrap it up now. If there's any other questions, we're here for you. So please, bring those to us. And again, have a great rest of the day, wherever you are, or a great evening. And thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.